Talk Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Jay Palton, and I'm here today to the match preview for Aston Villa on Saturday. Of course, Everton are back in action. It's been a long couple of weeks, hasn't it, while the international football's been going on. I don't think any of us were quite ready to see the season disrupted. We're on a good run, 3 wins in a week. It was really nice. We had a little bit of business still to do in the window, and obviously we got some of that done, bringing in Martin Roll from Freiburg, and yeah, we're looking kind of more ready for the season, much more ready for the season, should I say, than we did. Certainly at Leeds and going slightly further back than that, it looked like we were going to really struggle to get kind of all the gaps plugged. But I think we've plugged almost all of them really. I would have really enjoyed getting a right back in. It would have been great if we could go into this game, we had a new defender on the books in that sense. But other than that, I'd say I'm pretty happy. We were probably 2 players short of the absolute perfect window. And even one of them, I think, would have been just a third choice striker. Not an easy window to buy in, of course. Overall, really pleased with the window. And it's nice just now going into the footy and knowing that it's footy and then it's done. It's not like footy and then you're thinking about, okay, who are we going to sign, who's going to leave, who's going to come in, sagas dragging on, this, that and the other. So I'm sure all the Premier League clubs will be quite happy that it's back to what's going on the pitch now. So, of course, obviously, Villa on the weekend. Everton's record against Aston Villa since they come up has been absolutely horrendous. Haven't won in 12 league games. Obviously, won away at Villa Park in the Cup a couple of seasons back, which was nice. Jimmy Garner scoring, Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. We still made that game a bit hairy. We probably didn't need to be, but that was a really big win. That was great to get. But unfortunately, our record against them in the league since they come back up has been really, really bad. We've had a couple of weird games against them. Obviously, we had a Project Restart game when I think Theo Walcott scored really late on. That was crazy. Pepe Reina in goal for Villa. Jack Grealish was playing for them at the time as well. We had the time when we played them twice in 2 weeks because I think one of them was cancelled due to COVID. So we played them at home. They beat us and we drew away in one of the worst games of football I've ever watched, 0-0. We had like the 3-0 game under Benitez down there, which was difficult. We had the Gerrard game when Duncan Ferguson was in charge. That was horrendous. Emi Wendy scoring a header, smallest footballer to ever exist, scoring a header on the near post against us. We had the beat Villa Friday. We go top. It's been tough since they've come back up, but it's a fixture that I do like. Growing up as obviously a big blue, and it was Villa and Everton who were kind of, I think Sky kind of dubbed it as the 2 teams chasing the Champions League ticket. Obviously, neither of us got it, but Villa had a really good team. They had Martin O'Neill, I think, in a good environment was in the right environment was a good manager rather. Obviously, we had Moyes, and we still got Moyes. Some things don't change too much, but they had a really good team. Ashley Young, John Carew, players like that. And we had a really good team as well. So it was a good battle for a few years, and then obviously they became really poor. I think we had the seasons where we beat them 4-0 at home. Barkley got a couple, and we beat them away. That must be the last time we've beaten them in the league. Obviously, they went down that season, 2015-16. And then it wasn't until 2019 they came back up, and that's when we had the famous, beat Villa Friday, we go top, and we were probably unlucky enough to get a point from that game. Wesley scoring one of probably about 5 goals he scored in the Premier League before he disappeared. So, tough game, and not something I enjoy looking back on. But yeah, the run has been really strange, and Villa haven't exactly been a great team during that entire time. Last couple of years, they've been really good and much better than us. But it's time to put an end to that run this weekend. And to be fair, I'm quite bullish, I think, about our chance. I think this is a game Everton can absolutely win and should go into it thinking they're the favourites, really. Villa's start to the season has been really, really bad, and I kind of checked out a little bit towards the end of last season with other teams other than Everton. So I went to look back to see whether, they had a really bad end to last season maybe, and I looked and they won 8 of the last 10 games. I think maybe City they got beat by, and then obviously lost to United last game of the season. Maybe that was just the bridge too far. A team go on a really good run. I think they won 5 games in a row and then 3 games in a row, and they had the losses in the 6th and 10th game. But yeah, that United game is obviously infamous for decisions, and the fact that United were, really weren't fancy going into that match, and they somehow won, cost them the Champions League place, cost them a lot of money. PSR issues have kind of gone through the roof in the meantime. They had a really difficult summer, so maybe it's more from that United game. Things have kind of just grown from there. They've had to obviously move players on. Look like Martinez was going to go. Jacob Ramsey left. And now you're looking at the Villa squad and thinking it needed big strength in the summer, and they didn't get too much in. Obviously, Harvey Elliott came in right at the end of the window, which is potentially a really good signing for them. You can sort of see the script a bit there, but hopefully not. They got Victor Lindelof in quite late. Everton were linked with him briefly as well during the transfer window. So yeah, they strengthened towards the end, but I still didn't think it was a great window for them. They got Jadon Sancho as well. You wonder how he's going to get on. Hasn't played since the end of last season, and even then he wasn't exactly playing every week for Chelsea. So yeah, an interesting window for Villa. As I say, I don't think any of the signs they brought in have massively caught my eye. Made me think it's going to get them out of this slump that they're in. First game they drew against Newcastle, quite lucky to get a point there. They went down to 10 men, and then they were beaten all ends up by Brentford. Not a good performance from them. And then the 3-0 game against Palace. I know Palace got a good record against them, but since Ole Glasner's gone in there, but I didn't think they were going to get beat 3-0, that's for sure. And they haven't even scored yet. They not even had like a League Cup game to play in, because obviously they're in Europe, they're not played in the League Cup. Maybe try and play someone into form, I'm not too sure. But from what I've seen and what I've read, Morgan Rogers had a poor start to the season. Ollie Watkins the same. Obviously, Marnes didn't play in the first game because of suspension, and then didn't play in the last game. The lad who we kept mentioning in the interview played, I think it was Bizot. Who I'd never heard of before that interview, but he came in. You'd imagine Marnes would come back in, play for Argentina in the World Cup qualifying break. Didn't get that move. Supposedly he didn't really want it to begin with, and then maybe came round to it towards the end. But imagine him be back in goal. I hope not, because he's a good goalkeeper. So anyway, we can have a better chance to win. That'd be good. Looks like Boubacar Kamara could be out. Same goes for Ross Barkley, Amadou Onana as well. Players who might get back in time, maybe not. Matty Cash as well is another doubt for them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get on, what team they put out. If Kamara doesn't play in particular, that's a big miss for them and a big boost for us, because I think he's a good player. I think Amadou Onana's a good player as well, of course. We know a lot about him, don't we? So it'd be good, certainly, if they're not fully fit at the very least, and see how they get on. Obviously, I'm always going to be talking to the press tomorrow. I'm recording this on Thursday, so but Mykolenko pulling out from international duty with Ukraine, kind of the opposite of what we're used to as Evertonians. We normally get players go out on international break and play their way into injury rather than pulling out before the start. There was some debate there as whether we rushed them back a little bit. You'd like to think he could be fit to play a part, but it seems unlikely. Obviously, Jared Brandtwaite's still not quite back yet. Got the derby next week as well, so it's a real shame if he misses that, which you'd imagine he probably will do. That was the prognosis at the time, that he'd be back late September. Obviously, disappointing for his start of the season to be derailed due to injury for a second straight season. Even the year before, he didn't start the season, did he? He came in after the second game, which was against Villa, when they absolutely pastied us down at Villa Park. But yes, both teams are missing some players, it looks like, and that's a shame. But from a positive side for Everton, obviously, Beto's in good form, Jack Grealish in very good form. Big game for him against the team he used to play for. Kieran Dewsbury Hall's doing really well at the moment. Jessica Gay's playing well. James Garner, whether he plays left back, centre mid, he's doing well for it. John Pickford obviously had another good start to a season. So, where I'm talking about some of Villa's top players maybe being a bit distracted with the Martinez stuff, then the likes of Rogers, Watkins not starting the season well. You're looking at Everton's key men in there. They seem ready and raring to go, and they've had a really good start to the season. So I think going into the game, I'm really excited for him. I'm excited to be back at the ground. Didn't go to Mansfield, so I'm a good couple of weeks out since we last went there. I'm going to miss the next couple of games as well, so I'm really going to look forward to the Villa game and seeing how we get on. I think in terms of score predictions, I am bullish about it, and I think even if, say, Villa had started the season well, I'd still be confident that Everton could win, because they've started the season so poorly and transferring them such a disaster, and you're wondering, I don't think so personally, but you do wonder, is this kind of the Villa project fizzling out a little bit? Is the Emery project fizzling out a little bit? Who knows? But at the moment in time, I'd be confident Everton can break the run against Villa, and I'm going to go for a 1-0 Everton win. Jack Grealish to get his first Everton goal. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who do you want to see play? Do you want to see Martin Roll make his debut? If James Garner's going to have to fill in at left back, maybe that brings him into the thinking. Obviously, I have to wait and see. Who do you want to see play up front? I think Beto against what is normally a very high Villa line. Maybe you could do some big damage in behind. Obviously, Tierno Barry, I I think he started the season quite well in terms of his all-round game. So I think it's a good debate there. Eamon Died done really well for Senegal in the international break, so I imagine he'll play on the right. You want to see Tyler Dibbling coming at some point. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your score predictions, and we'll see you next time. Nice one.